Hello, thank you for coming to see my video. I have an assortment of things to show you today. The first thing I want to show you before we get into these items here, I would like to show you some knives that my dad made. And my dad is very handy with machining things and metal work and things like that. And he's really good at making all kinds of things. And I'll show you a couple of the knives that my dad has made. And he made these for me. This is the first one. It's quite long, as you can see. He made this all himself, just out of pieces of scrap metal that he had lying around his shop. He even, just sort of as a joke, he put a little stamp. I don't know if you can see it, but it says patent pending. It's not true. It's just a little funny thing he put on there. But here are the pieces that hold it together. You can see that it's two different pieces of metal. And then in between the two pieces you have this thin piece, which actually makes the blade of the knife. It's extremely sharp. I'm going to be very careful with it. He just gave me this maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago. But it's sort of slanted right here. And it's very long and very thin. It's not a terribly thick blade. And these 3 pieces here hold it together. But he cut this and put this together himself. And it's going to be a great knife. The handle's a good size. And I like the little notched part here. Keeps my finger from slipping onto that knife, the blade, so that's really good because I'm kind of clumsy. And I'll show you, the second one is very similar, but there's something a little different about it, and I'll show you in a second. The handle is a little different. It's rounded. I guess he used a different type of metal to make this handle. But he does, when he makes these knives, he makes them out of whatever he has lying around in his shop, and he has a really interesting machine shop. I should show it to you sometime. He has it at his house, and it's just mind-boggling the amount of stuff that he has in there. I don't even know what 90% of it is, but anyway, this one he gave me last summer, and this one is also extremely sharp. He sharpens these himself. And this one actually looks like this is a solid piece almost. It may not be. Oh no, it's not. It's not. There's a really tiny seam in here. It's hard to see, but these are 2 pieces that are put together. This piece inside. Then again, we have these 3 pieces. These 3 parts that hold it together. But here's the thing that's different about it. Look at the end of it. And this end is also sharpened, and I'm going to be very careful with it. This knife was made for peeling apples, and it works great. It's also really good if you're peeling potatoes, because you can actually use this part to kind of dig out the eyes or any bad spots. And this is good for apples too, just to kind of scoop out any bad sections that you don't want to eat. While you're peeling the apple, you can use this to cut out the bad stuff. So he heated this up and then bent it the way he wanted it. And then when it cooled, it just stayed that way. But this part is just sharpened like a regular knife. So you could use it to peel your apple and get out the bad parts. I think it might, well, I don't know. It might work for peeling peaches. I'm not really sure. I haven't tried it on peaches, but it works great on apples. And I haven't used it on potatoes. I usually use a vegetable peeler on potatoes. And then just out of habit, I'll use a paring knife to, pick off any bad parts. So I just wanted to show you the knives that my dad made for me. It's really cool. My mom and dad were married for 33 years. And they separated back in the early 90s. But my mom actually still has some of the knives that my dad made, and they're very similar to those, but they still work. She has to have them sharpened occasionally, but they still work just as well as they did when he made them. So it's pretty cool. Okay, now I'm going to get back to showing you the things that I have to show you. The first thing I have are these wooden pieces that were cut. These are single pieces of wood, I believe, that were and they were turned on a lathe and carved this way. And my dad's cousin gave me these at our family reunion back in June. I'm not really sure why he gave them to me, but he does a lot of woodworking. I don't know if you saw my vlog from the family reunion, but he does a lot of woodworking type stuff, and he uses things like this sometimes. But he uses different types of wood, and he makes these beautiful Christmas ornaments. But for some reason, he had a huge container of these wooden pieces. I'm not even really sure what you call them. Maybe a dowel. I don't know where he got them from. He said he actually only needed a few. But the person he got them from said that if he wanted them, he had to buy all of them. So he ends up with this tremendous box full of these things. Whatever they are. But I just wanted to show them to you. I believe they're all made out of the same kind of wood, but I'm not sure. I believe these are all made of the same type of wood. You can see from the grain how close they were cut to the center of the piece of wood by the rings. See, some of them you can see rings on them. This one is very pronounced. But I like the sound they make.